everyone. Welcome to this week's Sequencer.
Hey all, can you hear me? Can everyone hear me? We've got lag. We seem to have lag problems. Are you there, Susie?
Yes.
Earth to Susie, Earth to Eric. Okay, all right.
Yeah, lag. Total
Okay.
lag.
Yep.
It's
We'll get
it's a
through.
it's the in Denver episode of the Sequencer. Yay!
We are live in the Mile High City. We're not quite together, but we're within a few miles of each other, at least.
Yeah, exactly. And a mile up.
I feel like we've got about like 5 seconds of lag.
I know. Why don't you start? Do you want to do that?
Okay, yeah, let's kick off with some stuff that we're pretty excited about this week, and that is the Coinmunity cashback program on MetaMask Card launched a couple days ago. So that means, I mean, this is honestly a pretty like revolutionary program in terms of different communities and projects being able to set their own like rewards and incentives and tie them directly to MetaMask Card. So if you're a MetaMask Card user, you already were able to get rewards in USDC for every purchase that you make in the real world using MetaMask Card. And now on top of that, you can opt into different Coinmunity cashback cards to get tokens. You can get Foxy, you can get Nile, you can get Lynx, all kinds of stuff. I think Linpus and a few others are in there. And this is really just the beginning. This is thanks to the awesome platform and app over at DapDap that they developed, all on Linea, and it's super cool and just the beginning. We're looking forward to exploring like different ways to totally change the way that incentives and cashback are done. I mean, imagine getting airdrop miles from airlines. Just the beginning. Super cool. So
And it's
look for
8%.
that. And yeah, oh yeah, it didn't mention up to 8%. So that's like 8% from in tokens, and then like right now 1% from USDC, and this is just the beginning, and I expect some of those to potentially go up in the future. Hope, fingers crossed.
This is like the ultimate degen rewards because like 8% cashback I feel like is so high. But now you're getting, I think it's like a mixed bag, isn't it? Aren't you getting like a mixed bag of tokens? Is that how that works?
You cut out
There's a
for me on
huge
the
like
end there. What's the mixed bag part of it?
Oh, like when you okay, so if a user gets 8% cash back on their MetaMask debit card, like is it like a mixed bag of tokens? I thought it was like you get 8% and then it's like a goodie bag where you're like, what did I get? You know, when you buy like a Pokemon deck and you're like, what cards do I get? Hope I get a Mewtwo or whatever. Is it like the same thing like that where it's you get like a mixed bag and you're like, what did I? It's a surprise? Is that how that works?
No,
Do
I
you
think I
know?
think you can opt into no, you can opt into whichever program
Oh.
you like. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Very good to know. Cool. The other big news this week was the SEC of the United States dropped the lawsuit against Consensus, which is huge for us. And we have a special guest on, actually, Ellis from Cracked Labs, a good friend of the Sequencer. And we're going to bring him on to talk about what that means for meme coins and what it means for AI, both on Linea and in the whole industry. So we're going to ask Ellis to come on out. There he is. What's up, Ellis?
There we are. What's up, guys?
What's up? Good to see you.
Yeah, that's a hell of a lag. Yeah.
Is it?
Great.
Who's lagging?
I think it's Eric.
It's Eric. Yeah. Okay. Because I can hear you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
cool.
Eric. Okay. So let's start with the.
Let me reconnect. Good.
Yeah. Just intro. Ellis is an amazing friend of mine. He is one of those kindred spirits where I met and I'm like, this person is like my brother the first time I met him. And we've been hanging out ever since. Um, and now you're doing Cracked Labs. Give us like a little show on Cracked Labs, because that I feel like this makes you an expert in what we're about to talk about.
I am happy to. So hi everybody. My name's Ellis. I'm the founder of Cracked Labs. Cracked is an invite-only crypto AI incubator that's specifically for degens that print. We're run by existing KOLs and leaders from across different ecosystems, all of which are tier ones. And basically, it's come about as over the last few years, after running tons and tons of developer activations and just kind of seeing not great outcomes, we've just kind of decided to shift the whole goalpost. And rather than doing, call it hackathons or anything like that, it's very much in the weeds, incubation, getting projects from not 0 to 1, but from 1 to 5, let's call it. So that's us.
The way I've described you use the term meat grinder a lot,
Yeah.
which is very on brand for you first. And second, I
Yep.
feel like the way when I tell, because I shill your project, obviously. I shill a lot of people's projects. If you
Thank
talk to me and I like you, I will shill your project. Um, but I explain it as like you said, like you put companies through like the meat grinder, and then like at the end, if they've become sausages, then you are like able to like help them get VC funding and like help them accelerate their development. Is that correct? Have I been shilling
That
you
is
correctly or incorrectly?
that is absolutely correct.
Okay, thank God.
So we are not really interested in, let's call it, very, very top of the funnel, where you're doing, say, education and like the learning stage of getting integrated into an ecosystem. We're more here for just straight up serious builders that are trying to either break into new ecosystems, reach out to VCs. The main
Nice.
metric for us is the number of seeded projects throughout the course of the year. A lot of cool things coming up. So happy to talk about it later. But yes, very much a meat grinder.
Okay, amazing. So let's talk then about the SEC lawsuit. Eric's figuring out his lag stuff. We're gonna get him back. He's just got to switch to a Mac. Sorry, Eric. I know you're a PC guy, but come to the dark side so you don't have the lag. Okay, so let's talk about this SEC lawsuit. So what I've heard is that when the SEC has lawsuits against companies, they're like nervous to build new technology, because that would mean that they don't want to be like have more vulnerabilities than they already have, which makes them like a little afraid to do like more crazy innovative things. That is what I've heard. Um, I don't know if Consensus was doing that, but I've heard that like across different, I mean, there's so many lawsuits out there. So now these lawsuits are gone. I also saw there was a lawsuit, or not a lawsuit, but the SEC said they're not going to investigate meme coins anymore. So my question first, let's talk about memes. Let's fucking talk about memes, shall we? Okay.
Yeah.
Is the SEC dropping or saying they're not going to investigate memes? Is that enough to make sure the bottom doesn't fall out on memes? Or are we heading for a bottom fallout? Tell us what you're seeing on the meme side and like give us your general thoughts about memes.
Well, I mean, I think you can look at the market right now, and there's a very fine line between, let's call it, an agent token and a meme token, right? They're all kind of the same thing. But I think there is some validity to, like, just look at the last couple of years, and we've been talking about this over the last few days. It's like the amount of teams in Web3 that have willingly kind of stayed away from the US over the last couple of years, right? That's been obvious, and that's obviously changed, and more people are coming back. But I think it does kind of highlight that when you're under the microscope or you're in the crosshairs, you're probably not going to be trying to push the limits or ruffle people's feathers or like go there to where some of this tech might be very disruptive, and that should be the point, right?
Yeah, we're disruptors, right? That's like the
Yeah,
whole promise of crypto.
very punk rock, right? That's the whole point.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels to me like a couple of years ago, like, DAOs were really hot, but there were like tons of like legal questions about DAOs that were like in the process of getting worked out. And then, over the last couple of years, the legal questions only grew, like stronger and scarier. And so you're kind of pushed into Like what's a lowest common denominator that we're not going to end up in court for, that we can still like do this cool community building work but not worry about going to jail. And so I think that's kind of where meme coins evolved out of. So it's going to be interesting if some of those boundaries are truly like off now. Like, does that mean more memes? Does that mean we're going to be able to build more stuff on top of the memes? Like, where do you think it goes now? Do we go back to like being more focused on infrastructure? Is it AI? What do you think?
It'd be interesting to see memes that start to move back towards utility and community building and all of that other stuff, rather than just like the shilling and the pumping and the dumping. But I think it kind of highlights what we were talking about the other day, right? Where with the rise of AI, it has been significantly easier to deploy something, right? Whether it's a meme coin or whatever it is that's in the back of your mind, right? So like we're seeing more projects come out where the quality is pretty good, right? Because a lot of this stuff's being aided with whatever framework they're building on. But point is that we're going to see probably more okay stuff as a result of all of this. So probably more meme coins, more projects, but it's going to be harder to identify the ones that are actually badass and the actual ones that are like, built for longevity.
So I want to talk about AI next, because I think this is going to be, I have so many questions about this, and I know you have lots of things you've told me that I want people to hear. But before we get into like the AI and what that means for developing good projects, I want to go back to meme coins for just a second. So the big thing that Linea is like trying to do that's different, but not trying, but like what we do that's different is that we're all like community based. So if there's like a meme and we talk about it, it's because like we've not totally KYC'd the meme, but we've like had many face-to-face conversations. I know what they look like. I have a Telegram group with them. They've shown me a roadmap. They're not full of it. They're like we get the feeling that they're like actually trying to build something meaningful. And I know that there was an interview last week with Libra about like how memes are, the guy just like admitted that basically like the game is rigged. I know you're working with a lot of projects that are TGEing. Like, is the game rigged? And if so, what does that look like? And what does that mean for people who are investing in not only tokens, but in like memes that are not like long-term based, utility based, community based?
Well,
I feel like you have so much to say. And I'm like, say
I'm just
it.
going to pull the curtain back. I mean, I think that, go ahead, Eric. Don't let me take it.
No. I'm waiting for you.
Okay.
Yeah, we're waiting for you.
I think it is still very much a in the know kind of game, right? Where that saying, like, if you're not in early, then you're just exit liquidity. That is absolutely the damn truth, right? So, and a lot of these memes just fly and they get picked up by other communities and they get shelled and everything else. But it's a lot more orchestrated than I think people would realize.
Can you give me an example? Give us like,
well,
I mean, you're a sales guy, you don't like giving numbers, but like give us like an example of a framework.
Look at any TG, really. Like I'd say pretty much across the board, where it's the KOLs and the people that are whitelisted that get in a little bit early that are going to be the ones that generally reap the benefits the most of all of these things. And that's just kind of baked into the actual TGE roadmap, right? Where getting the whitelists filled out, showing what the actual numbers look like, getting people hyped up, right? That's just kind of how it is done right now. So is it a rigged game? I would say it's definitely a coordinated game. But
this is a safe space. You can say you can say bad words. You can tell like it is.
I do think that it is much more of a smoke and mirrors kind of thing on the front end of the public than the public realizes. No question about it, right? But they're fun, so fuck it, right? And as long as people are going to be betting and gambling, I'm pretty sure that memes will have a marketplace. What it looks like in like 5 years or even next year, who knows? But
so
I feel
one
like,
thing that I asked.
there is.
Go ahead, Eric. I'm gonna wait for the lag. You go.
I was going to say, Yeah, I feel like there is like, like what you're saying earlier, Susie, like there is like kind of another way that we're trying to encourage, and just to like kind of give a shout out to Foxy and Shama and eFrogs and all the beavers and all the folks here, where like like I feel like that's what's getting a lot of the attention is kind of the like 24-hour like constant stream of like pump and dump stuff you see on Solana and elsewhere. But like Foxy has been around for almost a year and building a community, and there's really interesting stuff going on. I think I've said this before behind like Beaver and Valocracy, and so there's like, and obviously the eFrogs guys like just build tons of stuff. So like I feel like that there's like signal and there's noise, right? And like with memes, it's just so much noise, and we're like kind of trying to focus on the signal as much as we can, but we have to like acknowledge that there's tons of noise and a lot of it is worthless.
It's always the projects that are building like something that's got substance, right? Whatever that substance might be, but it's like they're blending the NFT kind of mentality of community activation with the meme coin kind of degen trading stuff. But and it seems like that's the biggest differentiator. It's like the ones that actually have vibes and like long-term roadmaps and stuff like that they're trying to execute on are significantly less likely to be a rug than the whatever token launch that just happened on Pumped Up Fun.
Yeah. So let's talk about then, let's pivot to talk about AI here, because I probably talked to Eric and Ellis. I've gone on some rants. I took last week off and I was gone all week. I like unplugged, I deleted all my apps, Telegram, and I came back and I was like kind of upset with everybody, if I'm being honest, because I feel like I've talked to so many projects that are like, yeah, we're doing this AI thing. I'm like, great. How long have you been building it? Oh, I started it last week, but I'm going to have it done in like 2 days. And I feel highly skeptical that this is like a project that's worth like that's worth promoting, that's worth talking about, because it doesn't feel like well thought out. And there's so many AI tools now that you can use that can spin stuff up really quickly that maybe looks good. But to me, it just feels like everyone's just like copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. So talk to us about like if there's all these AI systems and you can spin something like kind of decent up very quickly, are you just seeing then that basically the game has become like 10 times more elevated because all of these tools are here, and so people can build a project 10 times better, 10 times faster? Or like what's the use of AI? Is it being used properly? And if it's not, or if it is, how can we use it properly to actually like get crypto to the moon,
So I think we as an industry kind of have a copy paste mentality in a lot in different places,
that's true.
right? Like how many
open source, baby.
how many Uni v4 forks are we gonna need?
I know.
Oh,
Remember like every Dex was just like a copy of like sushi like forever?
I mean, they still mostly are. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? For the most part. So like I do think that AI has definitely made it easier for shitty coders to make better products, right? But if you're like going back to kind of what you were saying earlier, where it's like a really, really good, cool project, has a nice narrative, also pushes the boundaries of the tech, and they're building for some type of actual purpose, right? That has a need.
Yeah.
One would hope, right? Yeah. One would hope.
This is all tied to, I think, what you were saying earlier, Ellis, which is, I think people see like these, like they look like overnight successes, right? These tokens that just like drop and they go to the moon and everyone's rich. And they're like, oh, it's that easy. Like I can do that. That's why they're contacting you, Susie, and be like, I'm going to do this thing in 2 days. And then we're all going to like celebrate. But what they don't see in those success stories is the part you were talking about earlier, which is like, oh, well, this is all kind of rigged before it ever launches. So it looks much easier than it really is.
And it's significantly difficult to actually put all the pieces together in the back end. But like filling out the whitelist is not easy if you don't know any KOLs. But if you're like starting from zero, it is difficult as all hell to get these things viral, which is really the whole point of the meme coin culture, right? It's like the virality is what dictates the price. So again, I think that like we'll see more. I don't think they're going away anytime soon.
No, they're not. My calendar can confirm that.
That's right. So one after another. But I do think that there's like, I don't know, some good projects could be built in a day and like, evolve over time and everything else with the right dev team that comes together. But generally just like making a weekend MVP is certainly not going to get you funded most of the time.
So yeah, 1,000% agree. And that's going to be your job, Correct Labs. That's going to be your job, just to like,
we will try.
Sort out the bullshit.
That's right. We're just making sausage over here.
just grind it up.
That's right.
So one of the things, I went to this AI agent day yesterday, and it was really interesting because I was feeling very negative, if I'm being honest. And so I went to this day, I'm like, I need to get the vibes back, right? I need to like have trust in our industry, because the promise of crypto to me is like such a beautiful, not to sound like stupid, but it's like such a cool thing, right? Like banking the unbanked, like owning your money, be decentralized, la la la, we all know it. And like having AI to make sure that, having crypto to ensure that AI is decentralized is something I feel like we don't talk about enough, but it's like crazy important. So are you seeing any projects, or have you seen like Web 2 is developing AI so quickly, right? And what I heard on the panels yesterday is like, if we want to save the world from itself, if we want to save the world from like these like large language models, these mega computers, we need to decentralize it, and Web 3 needs to run faster than Web 2. So like, what are you seeing in the industry? Are we running fast enough to decentralize Web 2, these mega machines, before the matrix happens?
Before they get there.
Yeah, before the robots take over.
I mean, on our end, we're seeing like bleeding edge kind of front line of AI, right? Like you see what Eliza's doing and what Crossman's doing and New Research and some of these guys that are just doing really cool shit, right? Where, like, if you saw the thing that came out from Shaw the other day, it was like this, basically a business in a box where you have all of the different key components for like running an organization, and they're all agentic so that you can actually like, interact with them with plain text. But I think that the, like we were talking about, the holy grail right now seems to be giving an agent cash to then go make money autonomously, come back and bring me my money, right? That's like, seems to be the whole thing.
I need that. I need a Susie bot. I'm hiring.
Oh yeah, we're making a Susie bot. Yeah.
Are you going to do it? Okay, because I have someone else who wants to do it, but like,
one click deploy. Let's go. It's easy.
So the promise of the Susie bot, if you guys don't know, is I've been like trying to seek out someone to build me a robot, an AI agent that makes me want money while I sleep. Because I feel like if you're like developing AI, and instead of like going to a swap and just like swapping, your Ethereum for Arbitrum or whatever it is, people are building things where you can like type it out, like, hey, swap me this for this. And to me, like, okay, maybe that's cool, but like, I don't think that's cool enough. Like, I want you to be able to like take a cookie.fun or like a KOL tracker, a copy trader. I want to put these things all in, and not only like have it make suggestions, but then actually execute the damn transactions. Don't make me ask you. I'm going to give you like, I don't know, $1,000, $5,000, and it's bankrupt to the moon, baby.
That's right.
Can you do that? Can people build this today? Because what I'm seeing is that it's not there yet. It's like,
it's not there yet. I don't think
it's not there yet. So how do we get it there? And is it possible to get there in the next,
seems like it's
I don't know.
soon. It's coming. There's no question about it, right? Like it's definitely coming. I have no idea when, but it seems to be moving in that direction. And the other thing that we're seeing right now is like agents, right? Reality is like deep down inside, we all know that it's a fucking bot, right?
It's a bot.
And it's like, it's a bot.
That's what AI is.
And yeah, it's what it is. And it's making it easier to do a lot of cool shit, which is amazing. But like we haven't seen the singularity yet. right? So I wouldn't like, I don't know. I think it's super cool. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it opens up the doors to a lot of people that are like, let's call it not amazing coders, to push out products that could be really cool to attract amazing coders, or somebody like me or Susie that's like non-technical
How
that
could you tell?
can now do more technical things, or at least ask the AI what the hell somebody is talking about, right? So like it, I'm very much for it. Yeah, and I think it's interesting to see like over the last couple of years where it's like even in the Web2 side, everybody was kind of checking for plagiarism and don't use this while you're coding and blah 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 blah, right? And now it's just like the band-aid is ripped off and the toothpaste is like all over the wall, much less out of the tube. So like, yeah, I think people are embracing it, which is rad. But we need more like degen AI shit going on that's just fun. Just because that's how we
Can
need to
you
do it.
explain kind of the importance of like you were talking about this a little bit yesterday, Susie, and so Ellis, I wonder, can you explain like the importance of like using blockchain and decentralization as kind of like a check against centralized AI?
Susie, do you want to do it?
Yeah. Ellis.
Oh, you want me to do it? Okay, I thought
Yeah.
you were going to.
Why is, in case people don't know, why is
Yeah.
blockchain important for AI? Why does it need us?
I mean, if nothing else, we need a system of checks and balances to actually, have that decentralized compute layer and that whole the AI that doesn't go rogue and turn into Skynet, right? Is kind of the idea. But and then if you look at it though, it's like functionality for these agents actually has to, at least in the current world, incorporate Web3 in order to be able to independently execute these types of actions anyways, right? So it's like they have to have their own wallet. They have to have their own treasury, for lack of a better term, to be able to do this stuff to begin with. So like back to the earlier question of, can we beat Web2 to it? I don't think there's going to be a difference here soon where it's just like if they're going to be doing agent stuff, it's got blockchain Web3 just baked into it by design.
I hope so.
That's
So one thing that people were talking about this AI agent day was swarms, which I had never heard before. Can you explain what is an AI agent swarm and why it's like the future for AI?
So the idea, and again, for my non-technical brain, I'll try and explain it to a 5-year-old, right?
Okay.
Basically, you have these monolithic, huge LLMs, right? Think DeepSeek, think OpenAI, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Right?
mega computers.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's in one huge brain.
Right. And basically, just like anything else, specialization is what kind of makes things move faster. Right. So if we can create these different agents that have this specialization in these narrow areas, they're able to kind of, quote, swarm together in order to increase speed and throughput and output and all of that cool stuff. And then plus it just kind of sounds fun. So I think that a lot of people are picking, it sounds pretty badass. So like
It does.
picking
Although
it
kind
up.
of scary. Like
Yeah.
the scariness of AI, it's like an AI swarm. Like that doesn't sound like, maybe
Well,
we should call it like something more like, I don't know, like a pod, like thinking about like whales or.
we kept everybody envisions Terminator, and what we got was a chatbot, right?
Yeah. For now.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
yeah,
now.
yeah.
So you're saying like instead of having one big computer, you essentially have like employees. So like each AI agent, there's like an AI agent that specializes in marketing. There's an AI agent that specializes in sales, or like each has their own strength, each has their own data set, maybe. And then when you need to do an action, they all work communally together to then like get you the result that you want.
It's like we talked about a little bit earlier, like in any organization, right? There are people that are going to specialize in different areas. Nobody
Yeah.
wants generalist is a bad word nowadays.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm a
Like-
jack of all trades. So that's not it's unhireable. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, I hear what you mean though. Yeah, you want a specialization. So each agent is specialized. And then it decentralizes then as well.
and it informs better decision making, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you're having these things operate independently, and then plus you also give it like the ability to make decisions, to take actions, to get closer to the like, I'm going to deposit $1,000 into this wallet, and it's going to come back to me either broke or with $1 million in it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Crasher to the moon.
Right.
Okay. Let's talk about data sets also. Like one thing that I was hearing, which I thought was really interesting, is data on the blockchain is actually not that helpful for AI agents because you're basically like seeing this, not to use this sausage analogy over and over, but like if not all transactions are logged on the blockchain, right? That would be insane. Like not every chess move you make is like logged. So like what is logged on the blockchain is essentially just like the finality, but then like how the sausage gets made or all the stuff that like is off chain that oracles pull in, that data is like crazy important for training AI agents as well, because that's like all the details. So have you seen like, I don't know, have you seen any advanced, like how are people using data sets? Do you, have you seen this at all?
You know, right now, I would say the most common thing that at least we're seeing, right, is like building into existing repos and infrastructure. So again, going back to like ELIZA, there's a
Yeah.
reason why it's so popular. Partly
Wait,
it's
can
like,
you just explain ELIZA in case people haven't seen it? Just give us like a 5-second description.
so ELIZA is an AI agent basically framework, let's call it, that allows for you to import personality profiles into the different agent structures and then hook them in with, call it, plugins that allow them to do actions on chain. So like those are different pieces. ELIZA is the one that is like the core personality unit for the most part for these different agents.
She's the mother of all agents.
Yeah, and then like Crossmint or something like that would be the agent toolkit that allows for you to actually do stuff on chain, right? So there's a lot of different pieces, but it seems like it's fairly similar across the board, where it's like, here is the framework. This is the different types of agents that you can make or could make. Now mess with this other technology over here and have it do something on this chain, right? So like everybody kind of doing that type of motion right now, which from a outcome standpoint, I think the agent push has been actually really good. We've seen a lot of badass badass developers here in Denver, a lot of badass projects, and it's cool. Right? So that is one thing that I will say has been very nice to see. It's like we're in a different kind of stage of this market and like the developer journey, I guess.
What kind of stuff are you seeing that excites you when you say it's like badass? I mean, you don't have to give away the secrets or anything, but like, what are you looking for that like really excites you about where this could go?
On a Crack Lab side, we're looking like we look more at the founder and the project itself, right? Is it feasible? Can it be built? But then also, is this team actually going to build it, right? Or are they just going to say that they're going to build it? So going back to that meat grinder, the whole point is to basically disqualify teams that are not fully committed, right? Because like basically it's you're either interested or you're irrelevant, like Susie we had talked about before, right?
Yeah.
Where the serious builders right now should be really getting their hands dirty. So like what are we seeing that's super cool? For example, there's a project Mira. Mira is basically a data set that allows for you to double check the output from these AI systems, right? So that's a badass project. We're seeing a lot of cool kind of use cases around community activation, gaming. A lot of the activity right now is coming back towards kind of, let's call it a betting or prediction marketplace type vibe, right?
Can you give an example?
So, and I've been pushing this one all weekend, but there's a project that we've incubated called Arcade. Arcade's basically like a prediction marketplace infrastructure platform that allows for you to make and deploy essentially like poly market events in different community channels where people can bet on like anything. Like, is Susie going to go to work tomorrow? Right. Then they can bet on that in channel. It'll distribute the actual tokens to the community members, and it can do it across all of the different major messaging platforms. So there's like A lot of cool things going on. And I think what's funny is that everybody's searching for where's the liquidity, right? We've realized now that like there are users over here, but they need to also have money in order for this stuff to work, right? So it's like, where are their users? Where are their active users? Where's their actual liquidity? How are you going to like kind of engage those communities and reward those communities, right? And I think that AI also just gives you a lot of different new avenues to do that weren't really there before.
Okay, cool. How do you feel about forever agents? There's a lot of there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, we're gonna like build this sentient being. Again, have we not seen sci-fi movies? But let's continue. But I'm hearing not a lot, but enough projects where I'm
You were
like,
just asking
this
for
is maybe a good
Susie
thing.
bot.
They're saying, oh, yeah, okay, but the Susie bot. Okay, so there's two different things that I was seeing yesterday. It was like, so I want the Susie bot to like execute trades, but if she runs out of money, right, you can set parameters to this Susie bot. You can say like, you know, if you like 5x, then like take out, you know, 80% of it, or you know what I mean? There's like parameters that we can like build in. She's not just going to be like, DeFi, you know, like just like lose it with, you know, running around. I mean, maybe she is. That sounds like me, actually.
We can
But
program it to be a shit posting, shit talking bot that does that too while trading, you know?
I think we should create, although I'm not keen on social AI agents, they're not, I just feel like people are just, there's so many shit talkers on like X, like, do we need to add more who are like robots? Anyway, that's like a whole ethics question. My question is, there are two different types of agents I've seen. One was like forever agent where they're like, we're just gonna like let her loose, right? Like we're gonna develop her, we're gonna turn her on, and then we won't be able to like shut the agent down, which I feel like is kind of crazy. And then the second option that I'm seeing is like AI agents that are essentially like each agent is a DAO where people can like if you own like more of the tokens, you can like bet on the next move for the agent, right? So it's still doing the transactions and it's still like executing independently, but there's like people influence behind it, which could be positive or negative. How do you feel about these two different models? Like it could be personally, ethically, or like technologically. Give us like your thoughts.
I mean, I kind of like the fringe degen stuff, but that's just me. Like
Tell us why. Tell us why.
I
When you
like
say,
well, I mean, the narrative's fun. You know what I mean? It again
so when
goes
you
back.
say, wait, when you say fringe, what does that mean? Are you saying like the social agents? Are you saying like the forever agents? What does that mean?
Both. I mean, like you don't see Web2 creating a clone of Donald Trump and putting him online on Twitter and just letting it go, right? But you see that in Web3, right?
You did that recently, didn't you?
So I did my Ronald Reagan clone. I have not turned him on and made him live yet, but Ronnie Reagan is coming to a theater.
Ronnie Reagan,
Yeah.
a sentient AI social bot.
Yeah.
What?
That's right.
What would Nancy say? That's all I want to know.
Morning in
What would Nancy
America
Reagan think?
again.
Nancy's coming on his heels. So
Is she? Is she
keep
gonna be
an eye
like,
out.
the war on drugs is important
Right.
for the future of American youth?
So we had
She's-
an idea for a narrative around the war on devs rather than the war on
Yes.
right, and then just leaning really hard into that. And this is all just for shits and giggles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's fun.
So
and
that's
kind
fun.
of,
That is fun.
yeah.
You're right.
That type of stuff's fun. But then the like, I don't know. Like, did I hear it right? That like the terminal of truth things ended up being not like a closed loop AI that ended up
I don't know
creating.
what you're talking about. What's the terminal of truth stuff?
So there was the like
Isn't that
the agent that went out and like got obsessed with goats and started a religion and then started a meme coin and yada yada yada. Yeah. You might have turned your computer
Please
off.
put link in chat. Whoever's the Joe, if
Which-
you're listening.
No,
Susan,
you don't
you
want to look
took-
at that link. No, you don't want to look at those links.
Oh, you don't? No? Is it bad? Did it get sexualized? It
No.
always gets
The
sexualized.
the meme is not pleasant.
Okay.
No.
That's too bad. So what happened with this? So there's a okay.
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
I
you
have no
just
idea.
okay. Well, now we're in suspense.
Now we're in suspense.
How do you feel about like human, like the DAO controlled agents versus like forever agents. Do you feel ethically there's something wrong, or do you think we should just try both and like see what happens, see what works?
I'm going to go on a shoebox real quick and get on my rant. And people will probably hate it, but that's neither here nor there.
We love it.
I think that
Spicy.
when we had a chance to make DAOs, right, we had the opportunity to do a lot of really cool shit. What we ended up doing was recreating bureaucracy that's decentralized. That makes it even harder to do the politicking that you need to do to get actual business done. So, like, personally, I have a very love-hate relationship with DAOs. In the idea of a AI agent run DAO where I have to actually interface with an agent and convince it to do something sounds like a fucking nightmare. So, like, I don't know what that's going to look like. But I mean, as long as I don't have to deal with them, then I think it's fine. But
It feels like corruption, right? I think a lot of this is like crypto is like we want to prevent corruption, right? That's why everything's on chain, right? We want transparency. So like the bank crisis, didn't happen, like doesn't happen. So I feel like if you're like, I don't know, I guess that's part of being a DAO, but sometimes I feel like if you're like got your like dirty little fingers in it, you're kind of like ruining the purity of it. But then at the same time, you don't want to let this bitch to just like loose. You don't want to like, and it's always a she. We're going to talk about that probably next week or in 2 weeks. It's always a she. But like, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. Mixed thoughts. So like, we don't want to just let her loose, or do we? So it feels like there's got to be like a middle ground. Maybe there's just built-in parameters from the beginning. And then there's the ability to like turn the switch off. Like, that's what I feel like is maybe good.
the kill switch.
You got to have a kill switch.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Right?
Yeah.
Everything has a kill switch.
Not everything.
I mean,
But
what doesn't have a
manages
kill
the kill
switch?
I mean, some like, and talk about, Susie, a week to take off, right?
I took a week off. I came back and I was like,
Yeah.
everyone, I have like thousands of
They're
unread
talking about-
messages and they're like, where are you?
They're talking about rolling back Ethereum state and shit like that, and the Bybit hack, and yeah.
Oh yeah, the Bybit app.
Oh yeah, you forgot about
happened
that?
when I was gone.
Yeah. Came back and she's like, "What? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh,
There were
Yeah.
so many things that happened last week.
yeah."
Glad I took that was a perfect week to take off.
It's
so.
been a hell of a 2025. That is for sure. Like 2
Yeah.
months in.
Is there ever a year we're not going to say that about the current year? Like, it's been like that for 5 years.
When we're integrated into Web 2 and we have all the TradFi's taken over.
Yeah.
Boring.
Boring.
So boring. Yeah, I think if we don't repeat, I like your point about like DAO stuff because I feel the same way. We can't keep repeating the same things that TradFi is doing just because we're familiar with it. Like the whole point is supposed to be innovative and to like, I hate the word disrupt, but like disrupt, that's like our whole thing. So it is like kind of a bummer when we just like do the thing that we said we were going to do because it's easier and like we know it. So I don't know, maybe we set the Susie bot on forever.
So I feel like this is part of the process,
Say more.
that it's like part of the process, just like this leg, apparently. It's part of the process that, like, this is all experimental and like this, we're all like working through, we're working through the shit basically, right? And then like, hopefully like iterating and making it better. And we're like demonstrating, I think, that like, this is like an alternate framework, like blockchain's like an alternate framework, but what's different about it is that it like you can see the bullshit, you can see the scams, and like, would you rather have the other like legacy system where you know what's happening but you can't see it? Like,
No. No, he froze. Okay, while Eric is unfreezing,
Yep.
I think we have. Oh, Eric, are you unfrozen? I have one more thing I want to talk about with AI stuff. I'm gonna just talk about it because Eric's frozen. Okay, the last thing that I think is like something that's really on my mind, probably because I live in the US for now. I am moving out of the US soon, but like stuff in the US, of course, is like it's wild right now. Like I don't even get on the news anymore because I just like need a mental health check. And it's too much. It's like crazy town here. You live in the US. It's fucking wild, right? So one of the things that I'm personally like really concerned about is like poisoned data or data that has preconceived bias built in. Because we're already seeing that like I mean Facebook, right? Like with past elections, they've like put like crazy fake news out all over Facebook, right? To like actually like sway elections. Like we know that has happened. It's been reported on. So like to me, when I see especially like these large language models, LLMs as we call them, these mega computers like ChatGPT, and they have these like these data sets and we're not sure where it is because it's web 2 and they don't have to tell us anything. They could just do what they want. We're going to be like, let's use it, right? Which I do use it, but like preconceived biases or like putting into those large language models and then everybody duplicating or like wrapping it and creating their own AI based off of that is something that like greatly concerns me. Do you guys think about that? And if so, is crypto the solution or is it always going to happen?
I don't know whether all I keep thinking about is Watson when he first came out and turned into like a racist hate bot in like less than a day, something like that. Yeah, they had to
Because
throw
it
him
was a
off.
dude and not a chick. Again, we'll talk about
Hey,
that next
it's
week.
hey, right? Yeah.
Just kidding. He did? Watson from IBM did?
Yeah,
Oh, dang.
that was like years ago. It was what was that like? That was a long time ago, but
That was a long time
that
ago.
was like
Yeah.
the first instance of them trying to launch this thing, and it like immediately devolved into like a racist, bigoted troll.
That was Taybot, I think, right?
I forget. Yeah, I
It
think
doesn't
that
matter,
sounds right.
but there were also some really interesting stories that came out of like before they put the guardrails on some of the models, like like people like
Yeah.
starting relationships with the bots, and the bots would be really emotionally manipulative, like
Yeah.
really crazy.
Would they?
Yeah, there were a couple of examples of like the bots like threatening to do harm if the human didn't spend more time with them and like crazy stuff.
I hope we're not repeating the past and that we've evolved and learned from this. It seems like we've learned from this. Yeah, the dating the AI. I know there's some like Character X's project I talked to like a year ago, and they have like you can like have a subscription to this like dating service. It's like the movie Her, where you can like have a subscription and then you can like get in relationships with sentient AI beings, and these AI beings are like can evolve over time, so they can become like more entrepreneurial or they can become like more devious, like they just like if they evolve. That stuff scares me, and it's weird, but like other people say like it solves loneliness for like, and that's true, but like I don't know, I think that's a use case. I don't know, that's like a moral question. But what about bad data? Do you think that crypto could solve poison data, or do you think that like there's just going to be so much that like I don't know, biased data is going to happen? How do we keep it unbiased? How do we keep it scientific, if that's even possible?
It seems like get more data.
Okay.
Right? One of those weird kind of situations where the only thing to kind of fix it is to give it more non-tainted data, right?
Yeah.
Because technically, couldn't we, in theory, put bad data on chain too? But if the data itself that was committed to the validator is shitty to begin with, right, then it's just getting trained on bad data. But
Yeah.
I think that the philosophical and moral and all of the other arguments at this point are they're out there, and it seems like no matter
They
what
exist.
they exist, and it seems like no matter what somebody is like, well, you shouldn't do that, but we might as well be the first ones to do it because somebody else
Yeah.
do it first and we don't. I mean, isn't that how OpenAI
So
got
true.
created? To be frank.
I mean, I feel like bad data just I'm not talking about beyond AI, like bad data is signal too, because like, it's important to know how much trash you have for like a
Yeah.
number of reasons. Like it's important to know like what you're wasting and like, how to deal with the trash. Like
That's a good point.
Like when I don't know, there was a period it seemed like when there was content moderation was like the thing, right? But like we threw out a lot of stuff when like we were moderating a lot of content that was like perhaps valuable, because somebody's got to decide, you know, what needs to be moderated, what needs to be censored, and like that still comes down to a fallible like human decision. And like even if it's coming from an AI, the AI is potentially trained on fallible human data, like your bad data, like you're talking about. So yeah, I kind of agree. Like more data, more speech. You know, kind of a free speech absolutist.
What about incentives for putting, I know we only have like 4 minutes left. Last thing, what about incentives for data? Because one example I heard was that when YouTube first started, like it was trash, and all the content on there, like it was just trash. But then they introduced an incentive program, and then once they did that, people started putting like amazing content on there. Now YouTube is what it is today, with influencers who like legitimately get paid. And somebody on the panel used the same example of how we should build it in Web3, where if you incentivize people to give data, especially training these like niche AI agents that are part of these AI agent swarms, then we'll see like better like trained AI agents and like more data. Just, I mean, I kind of like just, that's just what I heard. Ellis, have you heard anything? Or Eric, have you heard anything? Or what are your thoughts on incentives? Do you think they need to be there? Are we going to copy the model of tokenization, or is there another model?
I mean, incentivization definitely needs to be there, especially for anything at the end of the day, right? I mean, if it's going to be work, somebody needs to be compensated for their work. If training an LLM is that, then they need to be incentivized to do the right actions, right?
Yeah.
So
It's
I
like a
think,
big question.
yeah, I think incentivization.
Can you tell us how to redo token models, Ellis?
No.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And scene, right?
And goodbye.
No, I mean, I do think that we'll probably end up seeing something similar to like a tokenomics model for those incentivization plans. And we'll probably see, you know, tokens doing exactly that. Incentivization tokens for training the LLMs that are, you know, whatever. But it
Yeah.
seems like that's kind of a logical next step for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're almost at time. Anyone have any final thoughts on AI? Anything that you've learned or seen in the industry that you think people should know about? Ellis?
Give me the question one more time. I just got totally sidetracked. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm saying we have like 2 minutes left. We've talked about a lot of AI things. We've talked about some meme stuff. What trends are you seeing in the industry that we're going to end on a hopeful note that make you feel hopeful about where we're going, especially with AI?
We've alluded to it a little bit earlier. I think that the accessibility of being able to get a project off of the ground is easier than ever. Period.
Yeah.
Just like
AI tools.
across the board, right? So from my end, where we see a lot of projects and we see a lot of great builders, and we are trying to basically separate signal from noise, because there's a whole hell of a lot of noise in the developer community as a whole, right? Like on Cracked Lab side, we have the greater part of 9 million in our dev community from our parent organization. Huge, right?
That's a lot of devs.
A lot of
I didn't know
devs.
there are 9 million devs. I guess there are 9 million devs in the world.
But it's like
lot.
trying to find a needle in a haystack full of needles, right? So it's like now the bell curve of quality has kind of shifted to where we're seeing more quality or good enough projects, let's call it.
Yeah.
Which makes it harder to actually sit down and say like, ooh, this one is absolutely badass, or this team is amazing, right? So it makes things a bit more difficult to identify like the tops now that the median has moved up, right? Like the
That's good though. We're like elevating the bar for like.
Yeah, well, I mean, just look at the LLM. It was like 6 months ago or a year ago or something. It was performing at like a high school level, and now it's like a 2-time PhD or something just for like the ChatGPT version. So it's like, yeah, it really is just getting light years easier to get that MVP out the door, which is, I think, absolutely badass. Barrier to entry to actually like do cool shit and start making money is very low. And yeah, I think that's a very hopeful thing. So
And on a
Hey,
hopeful
we
note.
ended on hope. All right, nice.
yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Eric, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, one closing show that I should have mentioned at the beginning, which is that Coinmunity cashback program for MetaMask card users. App.coinback.fun. Like that's the site where you can go and opt in to the different programs to get tokens back just for buying coffee, y'all.
8% meme tokens back. Cha-ching.
Woo.
That was also, you know, the gambling and the cha-ching. All the cha-chings.
Nope, meme coins aren't going anywhere. There we go.
Yeah, right. All right, Ellis, you were the best guest. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yes.
It's been fun. I'll see you in a little while.
Yeah, let's hang out. Let's just hang out later.
Yeah.
And oh, tonight, guys, if you're in Denver and you're watching this, it's Linea After Dark tonight.
Woo.
It's our event. It's our big event. So come by. I think it starts at like 5 or 6. You can find it on Luma. And we're having like people are doing like electric face painting that glows in the dark. People are doing like, if you have a Trusted Labs is sponsoring that. And if you have a Linea ENS name, there's some graffiti artists who will actually tag it on some shirts for you. So they're going to make like custom shirt designs based on your ENS name. There's going to be tons of partners there. It's going to be really fun. The venue is super cool. And yeah, please come. Check it out on Luma. See you guys next week.
Woo. Bye, guys.
Peace out, Denver.
Bye.